welcome to my channel. It's a little surprising. I honestly thought that the Panthers were going to win at least 4-1, 4-2 maybe, because, like Edmonton was never going to go down. But the fact that the Oilers have been able to force a game seven is massively impressive. Let's put it that way. Um, but here's my take of what's going to happen in game seven. So, like in the past two or three games, basically, let's put it this way: the past three games, Knobloch has made alterations or tinkered with the lineup a little bit to maximize the potentials to the point where like it allowed them to basically for the Oilers to like come out strong in the beginning and start scoring like crazy, like start scoring at that point, the fact of the matter is in the past three games the Oilers were the first ones to score at that point. And then the other big factor is as well too with the Oilers is the penalty kills. It's surprising with the power plays that Florida had that Edmonton was able to sustain with those penalty kills, essentially to the point where like the power plays were pretty much negated with Florida. But it's I hate to say this, but I don't want to say it's a comeback story per se, or more so to the underdog aspect of things because yeah, like Edmonton at one point last year they were like in last place. Honestly, they were the team that basically shouldn't have beaten the Vancouver Canucks. As surprisingly, I mean, they were that far down, and then of course the Dallas Stars was another factor as well too. It's the fact that like these were heavily favored teams over the Oilers, and like everyone's been looking down on them, and they've got that pretty much why not us kind of attitude essentially. To the point where like it's one of those things like hey what do they got to lose type of attitude. But I'll say this, look for game seven. The team that scores first is going to win. Now my feeling is going to be this: I think the Panthers are going to come out guns a-blazing and score within the first 5 minutes of the first period, because honestly it's more of a case where I think Florida, they don't want to be that team. You don't want to be that team where you're in the finals, you're in the Stanley Cup finals, and you are up 3-0, and your team or name is going to be synonymous with a big fat L at that point, quite honestly, because the fact is like, this is something that Florida should have had. This game should have been over by now, or the series should have been over by now. Um, I look for the home fans to also play a big factor as well too. Quite honestly, I think the home field advantage in Florida is going to play a huge factor at that point as well. Honestly, quite honestly, I would prefer Edmonton to win because like I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen. DeSantis is going to take this opportunity with the Florida Panthers winning. It's like, hey, look, boom, and take it for his political purposes and like, prop himself up a little bit more too. I prefer Edmonton to win, quite honestly. But like I said, uh, look for the first team to score to win. I'm hoping Edmonton repeats in the last two games. They scored the first goal immediately, and then they go on to win. Now, game six, yeah, Florida's a goal that was taken away. I mean, it's kind of sucks that happened, but I'll take it. I'm not an Oilers fan, quite honestly, more than anything else, but I am an Islanders fan, true and true, and I will say this: between the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers, I mean, I hate to say this, but like, why not Edmonton? I mean, quite honestly, they have a rich history. They're the ones that had Wayne Gretzky. They're the ones that had Mark Messier. Why not them? Uh, Wait, was Gretzky with the Oilers? Pretty sure it was the Oilers. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it was the Oilers. Yeah, as well as Mark Messier. Like that was a team that basically they were the dominant teams. I mean, honestly, they were the ones that created that whole uh, legacy dynasty until Gretzky went off to the Kings. But um, I actually do remember this too because like I barely remember this, but I remember on the fourth final Islanders Stanley Cup Finals against the Oilers themselves. I mean, that was pretty much the end of their legacy at that point. They were going against a very young, uh, very talented Edmonton Oilers team at that time, and they were able to beat them out. And that's when I realized, okay, we might not be able to win in '85, but I mean, it made sense, that Gretzky was going to do what he's going to do, as well as with Messi as well too. Quite honestly, um, but I would not be surprised, like I said, that like with Edmonton, if they come out scoring the first goal in Game 7, for them to win it. I mean, let's be honest. There was that whole issue, well, not issue or whatever you want to call it, where you had the female fan basically flashing, and she became very viral for that moment. But in reality, she doesn't care. She doesn't give two f's, because the fact is like, quite honestly, they're the Oilers. Like they weren't favored to go into the finals at all, and they're there. So it's like it's a why not attitude. Why not us? Has a who care attitude? Who cares type of attitude as well too. Screw everyone else. we're here, and hear us practically. So I'll say this. After this series, look for Florida to ramp up and make some trades. Honestly, look for them to make some trades. If they do lose, look for them to make some trades to beef up for next season. Basically, I would love to see the Islanders do that, but that's not happening. And look for the Rangers as well too. Look for them to shore up their defense more than anything else. Look for them to shore up their defense, making some trades for their defense, because quite honestly, down the Rangers couldn't handle the prowess of the Panthers, of their offensive prowess, basically. So prowess. So let's give due credit where it's due. Florida has been able to get past all these teams, very dominant teams at that matter. But more credit to the Edmonton Oilers, the fact that they were like, let's be honest, like back in like late November, early November, whatever it may be, they're practically in last place. They were practically in last place. No one thought they were going to make the playoffs, and they were able to string a couple of victories. And it all comes down to, again, this is what it comes down to in sports. It's not always the dominant team. It's whatever the hottest team is at that moment in time, where everyone's gelling, where everything's clicking. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, it all stems back to however far you want to go back to, basically. For me, I realized once you're in the playoffs, it's a matter of how well you gel. Because, like, with the Giants, the Eli Manning Super Bowl Giants, those 2 years, they were not dominant offensively or defensively. They just happened to be gelling, and they just happened to be clicking right at that right moment in time, and they moved forward. I mean, to the point in 2007, this is a Giants team that should not have beaten the Patriots. They should not have beaten the Patriots, but they did, because they were red hot. They were gelling at that moment, and this is the exact same thing. And this could be the same thing with the Oilers. They're gelling at the right moment at the right time, and it's more of a case where like they could probably get as far as they probably can. They might win this whole thing. If the Oilers do win this, it would be unprecedented. Not well, I don't say it's unprecedented, but it's more so to the point where like it'd be unprecedented in Canadian terms. No, actually, no, not Canadian terms, because the Toronto Maple Leafs were the ones that won last. It would be, I don't know what would it be actually, to be honest with you. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think the Oilers will win Game 7, or do you think the Panthers will win Game 7? Again, I read my comments. I respond to them when they warrant a response. If you like my channel, like my video, like my content, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.